As we start a yoga class today, I just want to remind you that yoga does its best work when your body feels safe. So please be more aware of how a pose feels in your body today than how it looks on me or how it looks on the person next to you or how it looked in your body a different day, right? If you went for a long bike ride this morning, your forward folds are probably going to look a little different than if you hadn't gone for a bike ride. That's not bad, right? That's just how it is, just how your body is today. We're going to start on our backs today. So make sure your hips are in the center of your mat lengthwise. Make your way to your back. It's your choice what you'd like to do with your legs. I'm going to have my feet on the floor, my soles of my feet on the floor a little wider and have my knees knocked together. That feels the best in my body. But if you'd rather have your legs straight, that's an option as well. Let your body be heavy on the floor. And bring your awareness to your breath, breathing in and out through your nose, using the full range of your lungs. Feel your body expand front to back and side to side. And as that breath travels through your body today, let it be curious. Can the breath find any areas of your body that feel especially heavy or light or weak or strong or full or empty, maybe sharp or dull? Sometimes a really nice way to check in with the body is to compare the right side to the left side. Right? Do your hips feel the same today? Do your knees feel the same today? Are your shoulders equally as heavy on the ground? Are your nostrils taking in air at the same rate? Now, it's super normal if they're not. You don't have to be symmetrical, but it's good to know. It's good to pay attention. See if you can identify some areas that maybe you're carrying a little bit of extra tension today. And can you release that tension with your next couple of exhales? So we're in a room right now for my in-person participants. We're in a room right now that has quite a bit of natural light, even though it's cloudy outside. You might notice that you're carrying some extra tension in your forehead, right? Can you release that? A lot of us like to carry extra tension in our jaw. Can you release that? Maybe in your shoulders or your hands. Can you release the tension there? And then we're going to take that same attitude a step inward to our minds. What is going on there today? You might have some thoughts about a news story you read, or maybe a book that you're reading. Maybe some thoughts about things you have to do later today, or things you're looking forward to later on this week. Maybe you have some big heavy feelings, some big griefs, some big worries. Maybe some big light, fluffy thoughts, maybe something that you're really proud of or something that you feel really joyous about. Notice all those things. We're going to work with some diagonal patterns in our bodies today. Think about when you're wearing a seatbelt, so you go from one shoulder to the opposite hip. So I'd like you to start by engaging your right shoulder blade, only your right shoulder blade. Engage the shoulder blade and bring it just a little bit off the ground. Now, for some of us, the skin will still make contact with the ground, right? It's just an engagement of that shoulder blade. So pulling the shoulder a little up towards the ceiling, but not the left shoulder, just the right. And then slowly release that shoulder blade all the way down to the floor. And then do that same thing with just the left shoulder blade. Don't let the right one get involved. That one's relaxed. Just the left shoulder blade. Slowly release that all the way down to the mat, letting those two shoulders be heavy on the ground. And then we're going to engage our right glute muscle. So the muscle behind the hip that's touching the floor right now, just the right one. So we'll lift that right hip a little bit towards the sky while trying to keep the left hip relaxed and heavy. Release, and then just the left hip and glute. Keeping that right side relaxed. And release. Working with diagonals. Engage your right shoulder and your left glute. Keeping the left shoulder and the right glute relaxed. Not pushed down, just free of effort. Release. And then the other side, left shoulder, right glute. Checking in with that right shoulder, making sure it's not coming to the party. It's not invited to. Perfect. Release. Let's straighten our legs out and bring them if they're not already. And we're going to bring them a little wider than our hips. And then bring our arms overhead and bring them a little wider. So your body is in the shape of an X. And in this position, notice where your back makes contact with the ground. So you want an arch in that low back, right? And you're going to imagine you've got a grape under that arch in the low back, and we're not going to squish the grape, right? So we're going to keep the integrity of that arch there. So keeping the integrity of the arch, I would like you to take your right arm and your left leg just a couple inches off the mat. Keep them nice and long. So you're going to engage the belly here. It's called yoga core. We've got to live up to our name. Just a couple inches, not very far, just a little bit. Release. And then other side, left arm, right leg, keeping the other limbs relaxed, keeping that arch in the low back. And release. Bend the knees, roll over to one side, and use your arms to push yourself up. We're going to make our way into a tabletop. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. I like to have my toes tucked for a little extra stability. And take a look at those hands. We want them to be spread nice and wide on the floor. And what that will do is help take the weight of your upper body and spread it out over your whole hand. So it's not just on your wrist. That can get a little uncomfortable. But little yoga pro tip, right? If your wrists do get uncomfortable, you can always switch to have your hands in fists instead of flat. Right? So from here, we'll move through a few cow cats. So on the inhale, belly drops towards the mat, hips and head float towards the sky. And on the exhale, reverse. Back of the heart floats, hips and head hang heavy. And maybe you'd like to stay here for a bit. This is a really nice pose to release any tension you've been holding in your face, in your neck, in your shoulders. Maybe you'd like to nod the head side to side. I guess shake the head side to side. You could open and shut the jaw a few times here. Maybe move the jaw side to side. Just let gravity take away some of the load that you've been carrying in your head. And then continue the movement when you're ready. So inhale, lengthening the front body. And exhaling, lengthening the back body. So back and forth with your breath. your pace. If you'd like to add some of your own movement here, you could sure do that. You could take the hips and the shoulders a little more in a spiral or a little side to side. You could send the weight a little forward, a little back. Just whatever feels really nice in your body today. Trying to bring space to any areas that are experiencing some compression. Perfect. And then from our neutral tabletop, we take our right leg back, flex the foot like you're going to shoot a laser beam out of your heel. Yeah. Right finger spread especially wide on the mat, and we're going to take the left arm forward. So a little balancing here. If you're feeling a little wobbly, think about pushing that either the top or the bottom of the left toes, however you have them, tucked or not tucked. Push them into the floor. That should give you a little more stability. We'll find a few pulses here. So on the inhale, lift the leg and the arm a little higher, and on the exhale, bring them back to where you started. They could just be a few inches off the ground. They could be straight out. It's up to you. Make the practice your own. And then just a little more challenging, we take that arm out to the left and the leg out to the right. Kind of working with more of that half X that we did when we were on our backs. And maybe find a couple pulses here. Bring the leg and arm back, front to back. Set the right knee on the mat. Inhale, open the left arm to the sky. Give that left wrist a few circles while you're here. Spread the fingers. Maybe you have some good cracks that would like to escape. And then on your next exhale, we'll find your needle thread. So if you're working with a shoulder injury, your needle thread might be the forearm on the mat, turning the head to the right. This is a great place to be. Some of you might bring that left shoulder all the way to the mat, along with the left side of the head. If you do that, you can leave your right hand where it is. You could stretch it on the floor overhead. Some of you might wrap it around the back of the waist. Just allowing everything to be heavy here. Great. Slowly unwind back to your tabletop. We'll bring the knees wider, so the knees closer to the outside of the mat, and bring your big toes together. A little bit of movement here. So exhale, sit back into a wide leg child's pose. Don't get too comfortable though, because on the inhale, we're going to come forward. Keep those toes together. Keep pulling forward, and maybe your toes float. A little upward dog variation here. Exhale, set the feet down and the hips back. So the intensity of this movement is going to be based on how big your range of motion is. So you could look like this, and then just down here, right? Some of you will go all the way to the mat and then pull a little bit further. Just want to make sure on this upward dog that you're really pulling forward, not just sinking the hips down. And of course, like any part of today's class, if you have any pain, please lay off. That's not going to help your body. You're here to nurture yourself, not to beat yourself up. And then the next time we're in that child's pose, we'll stay there. Some of you will be a little off the mat, like so. You could even have the forearms more supporting the upper body. Some of you will have the forehead on the mat. Some of you will have the chest on the mat. Wherever you're at is the right place to be. And then we'll open up the side body a bit. So waist down, stay just where you are. Waist up, we'll walk everything over to the left. Keep everything heavy. Send your breath to the spaces between your right ribs. Really using the breath to expand the stretch from the inside, making some room for your lungs and your heart to do their job. And then walk everything over to the right. Same thing, using the breath, sending it to the spaces between your left ribs. And back to center. Come on up to tabletop. Couple rounds of cow cats here. Inhaling, lengthening the front body. Exhaling, lengthening the back. And then from neutral, we'll go into the other side. So the left leg goes straight back, right arm forward. Again, the right toes can be tucked or they can be untucked, up to you. Find a few pulses here. Just bringing them a little higher on the inhale, back to where you started on the exhale. But using strength, not momentum, right? So we're not just throwing our limbs up in the air, right? Like you could stop at any little moment on the way. That's a good way to tell. And then go ahead and take those a little out to the side. Find some pulses here, be a little more challenging. Take the limbs front to back, set the left knee on the mat. Inhale, open the right arm to the sky. Give yourself a couple breaths to treat that right wrist and right hand and fingers. And on your next exhale, we'll find our needle thread here. So either that forearm straight across the mat, turning the head, or the right shoulder and the right side of the face all the way down, whichever you prefer. And then if you have a different variation you like with that left hand, you go right ahead. Perfect. One more big breath here. Slowly unwind back to your tabletop, and we'll come on up to our knees for kneeling mountain. So knees are hips width distant, spine is nice and tall, shoulders relaxed. Toes tucked or untucked, whichever you prefer. Let's bring our arms out to cactus. So really think about pulling your elbows away from each other. So you're making a lot of horizontal space in your body. It's like the perfect pose to undo working over something all day, right? Whether it's sewing or woodworking or being at a computer or cooking or playing accordion, I guess that would do it too, right? Perfect. Release and let's bring our right leg forward into a low lunge. If your left knee would like a little extra cushioning, you can fold your yoga mat over and give yourself a little extra. So we'll start with just letting the arms hang. Concentrate on the front of the left hip. So bringing some space to this hip flexor. This whole string of connective tissue gets really short when we sit or ride bike or kayak. Maybe you'll be snowmobiling soon. I guess we're not too far from that, right? And then go ahead and let the arms float up. Strong arms, soft shoulders. So the shoulders aren't pulled down because that's tension too. They're just hanging out. Bring the arms out to the side and let's find a twist to the right. Keeping the spine nice and tall so the top of the head is pulling towards the ceiling. Unwind your twist. Inhale, bring the arms overhead. A little back bend here. And the exhale, straighten the front leg. Bring the hips back and find your half split. That could look something like this with your hands up on the right thigh. That's a great place to be. Some of you might bring the hands down to some props if you brought those, or if you have those at home, blocks or bolsters. Some of you might be to the floor. All ways are right. Wherever you're at, I'd like you to notice where the sensation is in that front leg. If it's all behind the knee, what happens if you put just a little bend in the knee? Keep it from locking. Does it allow you to get more into the muscle? Bend the front knee, take those hands on either side of the front foot, tuck the back toes. We'll step back to plank, set the knees down on the mat, and then come all the way down to your belly. Separate the legs and take the arms overhead and a little out. So we're back in that X shape that we made when we were on our backs. I have my head about, 4 or 5 inches off the floor. Keep your neck long so it still stays comfortable. And then engage, lift the right leg and the left arm. Keeping the other limbs relaxed. So we're staying nice and long and then light. Release. Other side, left leg, right arm. Release, stack your hands under the forehead, rest your forehead, bend your knees so your feet are up towards the ceiling, and treat yourself to a few windshield wipers here. This is a really nice movement to have in your toolbox if your low back is feeling a little tight from a long car ride or a long walk. Bring the legs to center, lower them down, bring the hands under your shoulders, and push yourself up to tabletop. And then walk the hands back, coming up to your knees for another kneeling mountain. And this time we'll take the left leg forward for a low lunge. Again, if you want to fold that yoga mat over to give your right knee a little extra cushioning, you're welcome to do that. And just concentrate on the hip to start. There's lots of, besides just the front of the hip, right, there's stabilizer muscles that are a little deeper in that can get really tight. Let the arms float like they're full of helium. Yeah. Soft shoulders. And bring the arms out to the side, and we'll find a twist to the left. Again, keeping that spine super long. The length of the spine is way more important than how far you're twisting. Our goal is to bring some space and some stretch into the middle of the back, right? And if the spine's not long, that twist just goes into the low back, and that's not what we're looking for here. Your middle back doesn't get a lot of attention. Yeah, great. Unwind your twist. Inhale, bring the arms up, little back bend here. And on the exhale, we find your half split on this side, Ardha Hanumasana. Again, those hands can be on the thigh like so. That's a great place to be. Maybe on props, maybe on the floor. Can play with putting a tiny bend in that knee. Making that pose work best for your body today. One more big deep breath here. And bend the front knee, walk the hands forward, frame the front foot with the hands, tuck the back toes, step back to plank. Lower down to the mat. You can bring those knees down first. And then this time, let's take the hands to the outside of the mat, tent the fingers, flip the feet, pull the upper body forward, and then up for a low wide cobra. So forehead is pulling forward, toes are pulling back, tops of the feet are pushing into the mat. And then you can stay here in stillness, or if you'd like to find some movement, you can slither side to side in your cobra. You can turn the head. You can give your shoulders a few circles. Whatever feels really nice in your body today. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, lower down, hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes, tabletop, and then let's raise our hips for our first downward dog. So downward dog is a back stretch first. So you want a little bit of a pull. You can just look up to me for a second. A little bit of a pull from the chest to the fronts of the ankles. So we're not here, we're here. Yeah. You like to find a little bit of movement, you can bend one knee at a time. You can look under the opposite arm. You can shake and nod the head. And then walk your hands back towards the feet. Give yourself a nice restorative forward fold here. And then root those feet down into the mat to slowly grow up from there. Arms out and up, hands together, little back bend. Exhale through heart center and to your side. So now we're in mountain pose, feet hips width distance. Send your weight to let's go left foot first. So I'll mirror you, right? And without leaning too much over to the side, we're going to get a little bit of air from this right leg. And let's bring our arms up and out. And then lots of control here. Now we're going to lean a little bit to our left. You can play a little bit. You can come out of balance and make yourself come back into balance a little bit, right? That's the fun of it. And then come forward, but bring that knee forward. Arms out to cactus. Nice and tall. You can be here if you like. So have the toe on the floor. Spine nice and tall, and let's find a little twist to our right. Unwind, back forward. Release the foot, walk it out. Great job. Let's do a little side opener in between, arms out and up. Interlace the fingers, release the index finger, heavy left foot as you lean right. I like to turn the face towards the ground in this twist. So you can try that and see if that resonates with your body today. Turn the head forward, come up to center. Notice the difference between the two sides. Heavy right foot, lean left. Option to add the head turn. Face forward, come on up. Release the arms. Weight goes over to the right foot. So really think about all four corners of that foot having the weight even. So front to back, left to right, using the friction of the mat against your bottom of your feet to really spread your toes out wide. And then without leaning, let's get a little bit of air over here first. So this part of the hip is working too, right? To keep yourself steady. And then expand the arms. Perfect. And then lots of control. Let's find a little bit of a lean. Getting to know that right ankle a little better. If you're bored, close your eyes. Coming up to vertical, let's bring the knee forward. Arm out to cactus, arms out to cactus. Can be here too. It's a great place to be. You can just lift your toe when you're feeling brave. Stay nice and tall. We'll find a twist to the left. Slowly unwind and release. Walk it out. Great job. We're going to make our way to a seat. Let's just sit down. We don't have to be fancy about everything, yeah? We'll bring the feet straight out in front of us, about hips width distance. You can shimmy a little bit to have your sit bones even on the floor. Inhale, find lots of length in the spine, and exhale, lead with the heart and find a little forward fold. So heart first. Once the heart has found a place of work without pain in your body, then you can let the head hang heavy if you'd like. Hands rest wherever they end up. Maybe they're on the floor, maybe they're on the legs. Some of you will be on the toes. Big, deep, controlled breaths here. Push your hands down either into your legs or into the mat to bring yourself vertical. And let's bring the soles of the feet together for Baddha Konasana. The intensity of this pose, two things. First, how heavy your knees are. And second, how close your feet are to your pelvis. So the further apart, further away your feet are, a little less intense, closer, a little more intense. So you choose, make the pose work for you today. Give the bottoms of your feet a little bit of love while you're right here. They don't get a lot of attention. And then find a little bit of curious movement here. Just moving the torso a little left to right, maybe a couple circles, nothing pushed. You're just moving to learn here. Seeing how the hips are feeling today. If you find an area that could use a little more attention, just hang out there for a breath or two. Come back to center. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, lead with the heart, finding a forward fold here. Heart first, then set your hands. Then you can choose to let the head hang heavy or not. That's up to you. Soft face, big breaths. Push your hands down and bring yourself vertical. Then take your hands to the outside of your knees and close your legs like a book. Make sure your hips are in the center of your mat lengthwise. Hands behind the thighs, spine nice and long. Lean back a bit and find your boat. So your boat could be here. I just want the work coming from the belly. Option to float the legs. Option to release the arms. Option to straighten the legs if you want a little more. Right, you choose. Just a few big breaths here, wherever you're at. And then we'll slowly make our way to our backs. You can set the feet down first, or you can float them the whole way if you like. Maybe your hands come behind you for a little support. And then once you're here, straighten the legs about hips width distance. Bring the arms overhead so you're making a nice long line. And take some breaths into your belly. Really feeling the belly rise and fall with each breath. And as you do that, let's make our right leg a little longer. And then our left leg a little longer, back and forth. So we're rocking the hips out. which can also be a really nice treat for the low back. Bend the knees, set the soles of the feet a little to the outside of the hips. Bring your arms out to the side and treat yourself to some of these kind of windshield wipers. Lowering the knees left to right, whatever pace feels fantastic. And then the next time the knees are over to the left, we'll hang out there, turn the face to the right. If you have a regular yoga practice, you might have a different variation that you prefer in the legs for this pose, and you're certainly welcome to do that. Some of you might want to stack the legs or cross that top leg under. Lots of different options here, whatever resonates best with your body today. Letting everything be heavy, keeping the breaths big and the face soft. One more big breath here. Bring everything back to center and let's release those feet towards the ceiling and give them a little bit of attention. Point and flex the feet, give the ankles a few circles. See if you can spread the toes, move the toes. And then bring the feet back to the floor, a little wider than hips width distance, a couple of windshield wipers here. When you're ready, we'll settle in with the knees to the right and the face to the left. And again, if you have a different variation with the legs you prefer, go right ahead. Notice that this side feels different than the other one. That's okay, but good to know. One more big breath here. Bring everything back to center. We'll take those feet up towards the ceiling one last time. And then make your way into your favorite back stretch. You could bring your knees into the chest, or maybe you'll come into a happy baby, holding the big toes or the outside of the feet. Stillness is great here. If you prefer a little movement, you could rock side to side using your body weight to massage the low back. That can feel really nice. And then take a little inventory of your body. If there's another pose or another movement that would help your practice feel most complete, please feel free to do that now. And then when you're good and ready, we'll settle in for a few minutes of Shavasana. So you can be everything flat on the floor, feet kind of hang out to the side, palms towards the ceiling. It's more comfortable on your low back. You can have the feet on the ground, knock the knees in together. And maybe just going back to that diagonal engagement one more time to really relax. This time, just lightly engage the right shoulder and the left glute. Not as much as before, maybe just a quarter of an inch off the ground. Release. Other side, left shoulder, right glute. Release. Engage all four up off the ground a little bit. And then totally relax. Letting yourself be heavy. Sometimes I like to imagine in Shavasana that my body is a bag of sand and there's a little rip in the bag between the shoulder blades. So on each exhale, I lose a little bit of sand. Just become a little more almost melted into the ground beneath you. Really making an effort in these last couple of minutes to stay here, stay with your body, not with your thoughts. Concentrate. Your thoughts will be there later. Don't you worry. Concentrate on the feeling of heaviness in your body, the feeling of melting into the ground a little bit with each breath, the feeling of softening a little bit with each exhale. Just for a few minutes, treat yourself. Okay. Start deepening the breath a bit here, making each inhale a little bit bigger than the one before it. Introduce some movement back into your fingers and toes. Maybe turn your head side to side if that feels nice. Use your arms to support you. Roll yourself over to one side and then push yourself up into a comfortable seat. Take your time. Hands at heart center. Thank you so much for joining me today to share your practice and your energy with me and with each other. Peace starts within. That means the whole world benefits a bit because you took the time for yoga today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.
Thank you, Joan.
You're
And
so
thank
welcome.